My name is Evans Ongati. I have two questions. One, as we all know that in your better agenda, housing is one of your key priorities. And as it stands now, you are at 2 million units that you want to achieve. And at the moment, your government promised that you'll be doing around 200,000 units per annum. I would wish to know that so far we are in the third year. How far are we in that regard? That is number one. Number two, my concern is on what we call manufacturing sector. We know that manufacturing sector contributes around 8.4% of the national GDP, and here in Kisumu or Nyanza region, we had a manufacturing farm at Kikomi that has since collapsed for a long time. What is your government going to do to ensure that manufacturing sector is revived in the entire Nyanza and more specifically in Kisumu, just to cushion us on the issues of employment and what we call agricultural aspects that will ensure that we have food security taken care of within Nyanza region? I thank you, sir.
Very much. Let me take a question from this row here. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, His Excellency. Karibu sana Kisumu. Yeah, my name is Dr. Ojijo from Maseno. How does your government plan to address the current challenges that the current new university funding models possess for both lecturers and students, particularly in terms of adequate compensation for academic staffs and salaries and job positions, and affordable access to quality of education? Where are we now and why now, Mr. President? I know the question has been asked and you've been answering it severally, but I'm concerned as a lecturer and as a parent, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll take a question from this end.
Thank you very much. My name is Dick Osala. I'm going to ask you a question that relates to development, specifically our roads here in Kisumu. There are several roads that have stalled and we do not know why. I wish you were transacting this area using roads so that you are able to see the condition of the roads. I know tomorrow you'll be in Siaya. Kindly use the Luanda Siaya Highway so that you see what we are talking about. What plan do you have for the roads in Siaya? And finally, Mr. President, 2 weeks ago you unveiled your cabinet. I did not see any minister who is below 30 years of age or whose worth is maybe 10,000. All people that were there were 400 million and above. Yona, if you don't have someone who is worth 10,000, I am here, Yona. I'm very intelligent. I can take that one.
Thank you very much, Dick. Yes.
Hello. Thank you very much, Mr. President. My name is Catherine Achieng Ouma. I am a trader at the CBD and at the same time a politician. I want to ask you a political question. Today we are here as different parties and we have welcomed you very well and you've seen it in most areas of this region. And today we can coexist peacefully, UDA and even Azimio. My question is, will you collaborate with Baba in 2027? My second question, as the traders at the CBD concerning the shipyard area, His Excellency, when the shipyard was being made, thousands of businesses were destroyed. Today, at this moment in time, if you walk around Akambalene, it is a dead town, and it is posing a security threat. Our question, can your government do a walling in that area and restore the 24-hour economy that was happening in that area? Thank you very much.
Let me take a question from here.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. My name is Sospita Obungo-Wish. I'm the famous president of the Sufuria Revolution movement. You remember during the anti-government demonstrations about the Finance Bill 2023-2024, it is me who was putting the Sufuria on my head, who you are complaining about. Today, I'm very glad, Mr. President, that we are welcoming you here in Kisumu, and feel most welcome. We love you. You are our brother, and we will always support you. Iler Kaka Pamba. Mr. President, my question is political. We suffered the last 2 years because your deputy was telling us the government was for shareholders. With broad-based government, do you still appease the shareholders? 2, Mr. President, as young people, during the demonstrations in 2020, during the demonstrations that was touching on the Finance Bill 2023-2024 and 2024-2025, most youths died during that process. Quite a number have been abducted, and their families can still not trace them. Quite a number are still suffering out of the injuries that they got through the police brutality. My question is this: what is your plan? Do you have any form of compensation to the families that suffered during the demonstrations? Because as the president of the Kenya Bunge la Wananchi Caucus, the leadership that are the face that represent the young people, we have always been talking very categorically, and we are saying that we want your government to see to it that the young people that suffered during the demonstrations are well taken care of, and that is our request as young people. And lastly, as I finish, Your Excellency, we want to thank you very much for embracing broad-based government, and for agreeing to work together with our party leader, His Excellency Raila Amolo Odinga, and supporting his bid for AUC. That we are saying that we are very happy about that. On the side of the broad-based, we are happy that you considered our people, though the Luos did not vote for you, but you considered our people and gave them very important positions in your government. Here in Kisumu, kindly consider us, because we don't have anything good as people of Kisumu. And on the Bunge la Wananchi, kindly consider the Bunge la Wananchi, because we also suffer and we also exist in part of the struggle. Your Excellency, I'm jobless. Consider me. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sospita. Let me start with Evans. Evans has asked me about housing. Housing is a very important project, as we all know. In fact, the argument I normally put across is that on this one subject of housing, we should all be united, because the housing program was in the Azimio manifesto, it was on the Kenya Kwanza manifesto. I find it strange that there are people who want to oppose it for the sake of opposing. But I am happy that this program is now underway in many parts of the Republic of Kenya. In fact, among the things that I will be doing here in Kisumu on Saturday is to launch the 2,000 houses that we are building in, what's the name of that place? Lumumba. In Lumumba Estate here. And we are currently, just to give Evans the statistics, we are currently building 108,000. We have 40,000 in the pipeline. We have already an extended, in terms of trying to find land to construct, another 200,000. This is a program that, as you know, Evans, is started onto a lot of challenge. We've been taken to court so many times. It has been stopped here, stopped there, because there are people who cannot see the value of housing. Housing does 4 things for us. Number 1, housing gives us jobs. As I talk to you now, right from Lumumba here and across Kenya, we have 160,000 Kenyans working in the housing plan. Kenyans who were not working before we started this housing program. So it is a place where we will create jobs. And those jobs will keep increasing as we go step by step. For the next 20 years, we will be creating jobs from this housing plan. Number 2, it gives us an opportunity to dignify Kenyans with dwellings that are decent. Today, we have 7 million Kenyans who live in slums in our towns, in very undignified, with no toilets, no running water, no electricity, no roads, people living in squalor. And let me tell you, and as I tell the rest of Kenya, the National Housing Corporation, the housing law in Kenya was passed the same time it was passed in Singapore. Today, in Singapore, 95% of Singaporeans own a home. The opposite is that in Kenya, we have 7 million people living in slums, because we didn't want to do the right thing about it. We are now starting to do the right thing. And you know, this is what Singapore did for them to change the fortunes of their country. Number 3, it helps us to reduce land fragmentation. I overflew yesterday. I was with the governor of Migori yesterday. And we could see clearly that the amount of settlements in Migori County, in Homa Bay County, unless we do something about it, we will shortly have no land to do our agriculture, because the amount of land fragmentation that is going on is alarming. And therefore, this program is going to slow and possibly reverse the whole subject of land fragmentation in Kenya. So, and of course, it will stimulate our economy. We will not only create jobs, we will expand our manufacturing, those manufacturing doors, those manufacturing windows, those manufacturing hinges, the manufacturing around steel, the manufacturing around timber, and the whole space of cement, traders, transporters. Many people will be in that ecosystem. So that is what we are doing in housing, Evans. Number 2, you have asked me about another very important subject, manufacturing. It is the reason why in the last finance bill, we had actually said anything that we can manufacture in Kenya, let us not import. You know, we're just destroying our own country. Because if we become a supermarket for other countries, how will we create jobs locally? It is the reason we are investing more money in cotton. You've just said, given a good example of Kikomi. Kikomi collapsed because all of us went to import mitumba, and so there was no place to sell anything that we are producing locally. So that is a space we must work on. It is the reason why we need, as Kenyans, be bold enough to say the things we can produce in Kenya, let us not import. Let us have duty on things that we can produce in Kenya. Let me give you one example, Evans. In 2023-2024 finance bill, we put a 17.5% levy on importation of clinker and steel billets. Do you know what happened? We reduced the importation of clinker by 95%. And 11 companies that had closed down have come back to production. And 16,000 Kenyans got jobs. On just one subject, on steel. 11 companies of steel that had closed down came back because they could now make money producing steel locally. So there is value in us using some of our tax measures to promote our own manufacturing. Because I went to open, let me give you another example. I went to open a cement factory in West Pokot. A good Kenyan had invested 45 billion in a cement manufacturing plant in West Pokot, employing 2,500 Kenyans and another almost 3,000 drivers, conductors, and many other things. Now, that factory is not just hiring Kenyans. We have now reduced, as I told you, importation of cement or clinker by 95%. And do you know what is this clinker we are importing? And do you know how much money we saved? We saved 100 billion shillings of imports of clinker. And let me tell you, clinker is just stones. You know, we have our own stones here, limestone. All you need to do is to go and burn it to 100,000 degrees, and then it becomes clinker. Explain to me, the great people of the great city of Kisumu, why should we go and import stones from other countries and pay 100 billion when we can choma our own stones here and create the clinker that we are looking for? Does it make sense? Sini ujinga? Ama mnaonaje? So really, and you know, these are the kind of decisions we have to make. And you know the good news, I'm very happy. The good news is that the companies who are complaining to us about the duty we had put for importation, in 1 year, they came back and said, you guys, you did the right thing, don't remove that duty. Because they were now investing in manufacturing. So I want to promise you, Evans, as I do, Kenyans, we will continue to make the decisions that will encourage our own local manufacturing, as opposed to us being a supermarket for importation of products from other countries. We export our jobs, we export our foreign exchange, and we export our opportunities, even to create wealth. It is better when we are having companies in Kenya that are creating wealth, because that is Kenyan wealth. Ojijo, my good friend from the university, is asking me about the university funding model. Let me tell you that the university funding model is something that I am very clear about. It is time. You remember, in fact, I was with your Vice Chancellor. Your Vice Chancellor, by the way, supports the new funding model because he runs the university and he knows the challenges of running university without money. You know? And it is because the old model bankrupted our universities. When I came into office, the first thing that came on my table is that 23 universities out of 40 public universities, 23 of them were bankrupt, technically insolvent, because they had debts from here, I don't know to where. And not small debts. We owed 51 billion shillings to private universities and 137 billion shillings to public universities. Because we didn't make the right decisions. Now we decided that we are going to have a model that is student-centered. We know this student is going to do medicine. We know how much medicine costs. We must then fund that student to do medicine to the full. We know this student is doing education. We must fund that student for that course to be achieved. But if you have a student doing medicine, it requires 600,000, and you give him 200,000, you will end up with a half-baked student. And by the way, Bwana Ochijo, do you know that we are in the second year of implementation of this? And the first year was phenomenal. If you ask any vice chancellor, anybody who is running an university, they are telling you this model is way superior. And in fact, in 4 years, it is my plan that every university will be able to run its affairs without the challenges they have today. And they can pay lecturers, they can pay their suppliers, because today, when last year, many universities, in fact, they said in the meeting we had in Nairobi, many universities have never paid full salary because we weren't giving them enough money. It is the reason why I have put more money in university education. In fact, I have put 127 billion shillings more to education because I believe we must get education right. If we don't get education right, we will get nothing right in Kenya. We must make sure that we get it right. It is also the reason why I have hired 56,000 teachers in the last 1 year. Last year we hired 56,000 teachers. It is because education is important. It is also the reason why end of this year we will hire another 20,000 teachers. Because education is what makes us equal. And if we don't get education right, we will get very few things right. It is very important that I can explain to you in greater detail the university funding model, but I think to a great extent there is a consensus that we have a funding model now, student-centered, that will help us transition from the difficulties our education system, especially at the university, have had into the future. And I am very confident that we will get the relevant understanding between parents and students and lecturers and university management for us to move into the future. I am happy, Bwana Ojijo, I am happy if you have some suggestions to improve on that model. We are open because we want a good idea that we have to give way to a better idea if you have. So we are ready to engage. Bwana Dick pale ameniuliza mambo ya barabara. It's a very important subject, Bwana Dick. And I agree with you, we have many stalled roads. I want to tell you that we weren't very measured in the way we gave out contracts, because we now have roads that are in the region of 900 billion that we have issued. We have 150 billion shillings that are already outstanding, work done and not paid. So that is something that is eating my head. And I have tried to work out a mechanism. We have in the budget 56 billion shillings this year. I managed to get about 40 billion shillings from China. I am working with other development partners on how we are going to turn around this road thing. I was, yesterday and today, I was in this region to unlock some of the roads that were stalled. And I want to give you my commitment that all those roads that were stalled, we are not going to start any new roads until we complete the ones that we have already, that are already stalled. Many people want to push me to say, why don't you start new roads that will have your signature? I'm not interested in having my own signature. I'm interested in building the roads that are already there, because they are Kenyan roads irrespective of who started them. That will be my trajectory. Catherine Ochieng